Okay, well, good afternoon. Today's lesson we're going to be going in chapters 4 and 5. As you can tell, you don't see me today, but you will be seeing my hands. So our first lesson is going to be graphing ordered pairs. So make sure that you get that title written down. And I just want to, first of all, just say hello to all the future leaders of America. All right, so moving on into how to graph an ordered pair. Well, we first need to know what is an ordered pair. Okay, so an ordered pair is right here. So make sure you pause this at some point and write this down. But an ordered pair is basically, it's a point, it's a dot, or it's coordinates. So you do have to know these three words, actually all four, because they all mean the same thing. And I'm going to be referring through to those definitions throughout the lesson. So an ordered pair, same thing as a point or a dot or coordinates. Okay. So then, so again, what is that ordered pair? Why is it called ordered? Well, it's called an ordered pair because it's in alphabetical order. If you look down here, you have an X, then the letter Y. An X comes before Y in the alphabet. So that's why it's called an ordered pair. They always have to go in this sequence. So you always have to have what we call an X coordinate or then a Y coordinate. And when we get to the graph, I'll show you the X coordinate always is side to side. And then the Y coordinate is always up and down. And here's very important to remember that an ordered pair or a point on a graph is always two numbers. Always, always, always two numbers. You need two numbers to pinpoint anything on the planet. GPS is possible because of ordered pairs. Right now, your cell phone is telling Google two numbers to pinpoint where you are in your desk right now. Okay, so that's in an ordered pair. So now let's take a look at a graph. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Hit pause right here and just draw yourself a graph. You can just go like 5 by 5 is fine. This one's a little bit elaborate. But again, just hand draw a graph that looks nice. So hit pause and do that. Okay, so now here's my graph. And again, now this is called a coordinate plane. That's the real name for this, just because you put coordinates on it. We also know it as a graph, and sometimes we call it a grid. Now again, the y-axis goes up and down. That's our second number. And here's the x-axis. And the x-axis is side to side, right? And the x-coordinate always comes first. This is how I remember. I think of a plane that takes off. An airplane has to go down a runway first, side to side, before it can go up into the air. So now we do take a coordinate plane and we divide it into 4 quadrants. So this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Each quadrant is special in that if you see two positive numbers together, an x and a y coordinate that are both positive, you're in quadrant 1. If the x, see how the x down here is negative? So in quadrant 2, you have a negative x and a positive y coordinate. Now, quadrant 3 is the exact opposite of quadrant 1. So we have two positives for quadrant 1. If you have two negative numbers on your point, it's in quadrant 3. And if you look closely at quadrant 4, it is also a opposite, where if you have a positive x, where this one had a negative x, you see how the two are switched. So if you have a positive x coordinate and then a negative y coordinate, you're in quadrant number 4, right? So make sure that you have this stuff all written down. Hit pause, and get that written down. All right, so you just finished copying down one coordinate plane. So I want you to now make a second coordinate plane. So on your notes, you should have 2 graphs. And again, just make it, a 5 by 5. This one happens to be all the way up to 8, but you can do a 5 by 5. Make sure And you're going to have to put these points and then label them. So let's look at point A. So again, where we want to start is we want to start right here in the middle. And this is called our origin. And this is 0, 0. And again, you go to X first. So from here you go X. Now I want to go to letter A. So I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's my X. So I'm going to put 4 right here. And then to get to A, I have to go 1, 2, 3, and I have to just go up. So up is positive. And you remember how if you had two positive numbers, 4, 3, you were in quadrant 1. Now let's go back to the origin right here. And we have point B. Now again, you have to go side to side first. So our X coordinate for B is I got to go over to that. So it's 1, 2, and it looks like -3. Yep. So it's -3, so put down -3 first. And then from -3, I have to go up to get to B. And I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5. And again, this has a -x and a +5, so it puts me in quadrant 2. So what I want you to do is go ahead and find the coordinates for C, for the rest of these, C, D, E, F, and G. Watch out for F and G. They're a little bit tricky. Just remember, you always have to have 2 numbers for every point. So there's our lesson today, and have a math-tastic day.